Hello students, welcome back. Today we are going to start the chapter number 5 of Algebra, Statistics, Part 1. In Statistics Part 1, we are going to learn some new methods of measurements. Okay. Now, you know that statistics is a branch of mathematics that we use in everyday life. You may not be using it personally, but in agriculture, in biotechnology, biometrics, physics, chemistry, environmental science, atmospheric study, everywhere the statistics is used. In short, wherever the large data is there, the statistics comes into picture. In India also, there are great Indian scientists or great Indian statisticians who have done the great work in this field. For example, Dr. Mahalnobis, Dr. Rao, Dr. Sukhatme, these are some of the names of great Indian statisticians. Now what we are going to learn in this Statistics 1? We are going to learn in Stats 1, that is the measurement of central tendencies. Now what is the measurement of central tendencies, or what is in short, central tendency? Let us look at it. The central tendency means the tendency of the observations to accumulate around a central value or around some central value. Now for example, suppose there are in a class 10th, there are 4 divisions and nearly 300 boys and 300 girls are there, and if we want to compare the mathematics marks of girls and boys, are we going to compare each and every pair? No. What we are going to do? We are going to take a data of all the girls' marks and we are going to take a data of all the boys' marks, and then we will find out some figure, central figure, which will represent the group of girls, and here which will represent a group of boys. Now this is a very short example. That means in this case the real power of statistics is not used, but we are going to learn the method taking the general data. Let us see what are the different measures of central tendencies. Here we are going to learn mean, median and mode. We are going to learn basically these three and then the relation between the central tendencies. Let us start with mean. Now for mean we are going to learn the 3 methods. The first is direct method, the second is assume mean, or it is also called as shift of origin. Assume mean or shift of origin method, and the third is step deviation method. Or it is also called as shift of origin and change of scale method, and change of scale method. Now we are going to learn these 3 methods: direct method, assume mean or shift of origin method, and the third is step deviation or shift of origin and change of scale method. Now one thing I'll tell you, the students get confused by these 3 methods. They don't understand. They try to remember, they try to by heart the methods or by heart the formulas, methods and whatever it is. Some students also by heart the sum itself, so that whenever a particular sum from book comes in front of them, by closing their eyes they can write the sum. This is totally wrong. Of course it is wrong. I'll tell you one thing, these 3 methods are not totally different methods. या तिन्ही मेथड ज्या आहेत ना त्या संपूर्णपणे वेगवेगळ्या नाही आहेत की ज्याचे फॉर्म्युलेज वेगळे आहेत, ज्याच्या पद्धती वेगळ्या आहेत, असं नाही आहे. फॉर एक्झाम्पल मी तुम्हाला सांगतो की तुमच्या लक्षात असेल की समजा आपल्याला 1 ते 1000 आकडे मोजायचेत, 1 ते 1000 आकडे मोजायचेत, तर यामध्ये ते शिफ्ट कसे होतात ते आपण बघूया. समजा डायरेक्ट मेथड म्हणजे मी मोजणार 1 2 3 4 100 101 102 103 104 105 अँड सो ऑन, बरोबर. पण प्रत्येक वेळेला 104 105 106 100 100 100 किंवा परत 200 200 200 हे म्हणायला कंटाळा येतो आपल्याला किंवा ती जीभ जड होते त्यावेळेला. मग त्यावेळेला आपण काय करतो, 99 नंतर आपण म्हणतो 99 100, मग आपण एक बोट धरतो, 1 2 3 4, याचा अर्थ काय होतो 101 102 103 104, मग 199 पर्यंत आपण काय करतो 200, मग परत 1 2 3 4, बरोबर. मग थोडक्यात आपण काय केलंय की ज्या फिगर्स आहेत त्याचं सिम्प्लिफिकेशन केलंय आपण बघितलं, we already seen in the quadratic equations and simultaneous linear equation that we substitute, we simplify the sums, right. For example x raised to 4 असेल तर we assume that x raised to 4 or x square is equal to a, something like that. We simplify the sum and then we solve it. आता काय होतं, स्टॅटिस्टिक्समध्ये कदाचित मोठ्या फिगर्स असू शकतील, 40 50 100च्या आसपास वगैरे, ज्याची बेरीज वजाबाकी वगैरे खूप मोठी येऊ शकते अँड अल्टिमेटली ते आन्सर्स किंवा डिव्हिजन सबट्रॅक्शन मोठं होऊ शकतं. म्हणून आपण काय करतो, वी ॲज्युम समथिंग. म्हणजे आपण काय करतो की जी सगळी एक्झाम्पल्स, जी सगळी रिडिंग्स असतात त्यातून काहीतरी सबट्रॅक्ट करतो. म्हणजे समजा या इकडे समजा फ्रिक्वेन्सी जर का असतील 105 106 108 110 190 वगैरे वगैरे मोठ्या फिगर्स जर का असतील तर त्याची बेरीज पण मोठीच येणार. मग त्याच्यासाठी आपण काय करतो, या सगळ्यातून एक फिक्स आकडा 100 मी वजा केला, राईट. एक 100 आकडा म्हणजे समजा अशी रिडिंग असतील 115 130 120 फॉर एक्झाम्पल आपण पकडूया, आणि मला जर का यांची अशी बरीच आकडे आहेत अँड सपोज वी वॉन्ट ॲडिशन ऑफ ऑल दिस थिंग्स, सो व्हॉट आय डू, आय फर्स्ट सबट्रॅक्ट 100 फ्रॉम दिस, सो आय गेट 15 30 20. याची ॲडिशन करणं सोपं आहे, व्हेरी इझी, 50 60 65. आणि मग नंतर जेव्हा माझं फायनल आन्सर जेव्हा येईल तेव्हा जी फिगर मी सबट्रॅक्ट केली होती ती मी परत ॲड करून टाकेन. So I will adjust that subtracted figure or that assumed figure at the end. Okay. So this is the modification of direct method is the assume mean method. ही जी मेथड assume mean आहे याच्यामध्ये मी सबट्रॅक्ट करतोय, पण अजून मोठ्या फिगर नंबर जर का येत असतील तर मी एखादी फिगर डिवाइड करेन. डिवाइड केलं की अजून फिगर्स छोट्या होतील. दॅट इज वॉट अ स्टेप डिव्हिएशन मेथड. आणि मग जे मी डिवाइड केलंय ते ॲट द एंड परत मल्टिप्लाय करेन. सो माय कॅल्क्युलेशन्स गेट सिम्पलर अँड इझियर. म्हणजेच ऑल these 3 methods are not different methods, but that is just modification of previous method. Okay, so let us see the direct method first, and then we can go to assume mean, and then we can go to step deviation method. Okay, let us see first assume mean. आता तुम्हाला माहिती आहे की मीन म्हणजे काय. माझ्याकडे जर का 2 नंबर्स असतील 25 आणि समजा 35 आणि याची ॲव्हरेज काढायची असेल, नॉर्मल मीन काढायचं असेल, तर व्हॉट वी डू, 25 प्लस 35 दॅट इज 70 अपॉन 2, that is the total upon number of readings. So I say that my mean is 35, right. पण जर का इकडे ग्रुप असतील तर फ्रिक्वेन्सी असेल तर म्हणजे 10 ते 20 मध्ये 5, 20 ते 30 मध्ये समथिंग फ्रिक्वेन्सीज असतील तर मग काय करणार, मग आपण मीन कसं काढणार. सो लेट अस सी दॅट how to find out the mean, the first central tendency mean, and amongst it, we'll first see the direct method. ठीक आहे, इथपर्यंत तुम्हाला आत्तापर्यंतच्या क्लासमध्ये झालेलं आहे. 9वी पर्यंत तुम्हाला ॲव्हरेज वगैरे इथपर्यंत झालेलं आहे. यू नो की रीडिंग्स कशी घेतात, व्हॉट इज फ्रिक्वेन्सी, व्हॉट इज सिग्मा, दॅट इज द समेशन ऑफ फ्रिक्वेन्सी और समथिंग एल्स. या सगळ्या गोष्टी तुम्हाला माहिती आहेत, म्हणजे स्टॅटिस्टिकल टर्म्स तुम्हाला माहिती आहेत. क्लास इंटरवल्स म्हणजे काय, क्लासेस म्हणजे काय, या गोष्टी तुम्हाला 9वी पर्यंत झालेल्या आहेत. सो नाव वी आर गोइंग टू go one step ahead to direct method of mean. Let us do that. So in the mean we are going to learn direct method first. Now let us directly see one example. Below is the given distribution turnover in lakhs of rupees of 50 departmental stores in a year. Find mean turnover of a store. The turnover here given in the lakhs of rupees and the class intervals are given 5 to 15, 15 to 25, 25 to 35, 35 to 45, and last 45 to 55. And number of stores here given this is the frequency given. Stores are given 5, 10, 20, 5, 10, 20, 13 and 2. Now let us find out how to work on this. Now whenever you are given the class interval, we have to find out the class mark. So here the class mark is xi. And number of stores is a frequency, that is fi. Now what is the class mark of the first one, that is the central figure is 10. Here 20, 30, 40 and 50. So the first step is to find out the class mark. Frequency is already given fi. Now what we have to do, the second step is we have to find out the product of fi xi, product of these two terms. Let us find it out quickly. So this is your second step. Third step is we have to find out the summation, the sum of fi and xi fi. This sum is denoted by sigma. I'll say sigma xi is equal to addition of these terms, that is 50. So my sigma xi is 50 and sigma fi xi is 1470. Again, first find out the class mark, second find out the product of fi xi. This third, summation of the frequency, sorry, here this should be sigma fi. So the first find out class mark, second product of xi fi should be found out here. Third, sigma fi, that is summation of all frequencies, and sigma fi xi, that is summation of all these terms. Now it is very easy. The formula for mean, sigma fi xi upon sigma Fi. Very easy, very simple. What we used to do when there were no such frequencies, त्यावेळेला आपण काय करत होतो, सरळ आपण ॲडिशन घेत होतो. समजा फक्त ह्या एवढ्याच फिगर्स माझ्याकडे आहेत, तर आपण काय करत होतो, समजा या एवढ्याच फिगर माझ्याकडे आहेत, तर आपण याची सरळ टोटल आली 50 अँड डिवायडेड बाय 1 2 3 4 5, बरोबर. But here we have number of readings, frequency is more, so we have modified this formula. The initial formula of mean was sigma xi upon the number of readings, right? Now it is modified to sigma fi xi upon sigma fi. The general number is replaced by sigma fi, and this reading only xi is replaced by xi fi. So now let us find out for this sum. So we have 1470 upon 50. The answer is 29.4. Don't forget the units, lakhs. Lakh rupees. So this is the mean of this. What they have asked? Find a mean turnover of a store. So the mean turnover of a store is 29.4 lakh rupees. This is what this will come somewhere around here in this range, right? Nearby center, not exactly center, nearby center, right? Let us see one more example. Below is the given frequency distribution of number of words written in an essay by each candidate and number of candidates. Okay, the words are given. (600 to 800), 800 to 1000, and last is so these are number of words given, and candidate, number of candidates are given. I will better write, I'll keep some space. Candidates are given 8, 22, 40, 18 and 12. So here what is my first step? We know that this is frequency, Fi. What is my first step? Class mark. That is xi. First I will find out xi. What is the xi for this class interval? Average of this class interval is 700, 900, 1100, 1300 and 1500. Next what we have to do? We have to find out xi into fi. Quickly find out the xi fi. Do the multiplication quickly. I'll directly write down the answers. So these are the answers. Next step what you have to do? You have to find out sigma fi and sigma fi xi. Find it out quickly. Check your answers. Check your calculations. I have seen many students are very poor in arithmetics. They do simple, or I can say silly mistakes in multiplication, division, addition and subtractions. So be sure, don't lose your mark unnecessary here. Don't do any silly mistakes. Check your answers. The rest is very easy. Now how will you find out the mean? Mean is equal to sigma fi xi upon sigma fi. That is 1,10,800 divided by 100. So this is 1,000 108 words. So 1108 words is the mean number of words written. Very easy, simple. But have you observed in this case? या इथे आपल्याला मोठी कॅल्क्युलेशन्स करायला लागली, राईट. ओरली कॅल्क्युलेशन्स करता नाही आली, त्यामुळे आपल्याला वेळ लागला करायला थोडा. कॅल्क्युलेशन्स थोडीशी कॉम्प्लिकेटेड झाली आणि म्हणून शिफ्ट ऑफ ओरिजिन मेथड वापरली जाते. But we will see few more examples in this and then we will go to second method. Okay, let us do one more sum. The following is the frequency distribution of time in minutes a worker takes to complete the work. Obtain mean time taken by a worker to complete the work. Number of workers given are 2, 10, 15, 20, 28 and 25. So we have to find out the obtained mean time taken by a worker to complete the work. What is the first step? We have to find out the class mark, that is xi. In this case xi is 22, 27, 32, 37, 42, 47. The next step is we have to find out fi into xi. Quickly do calculation, multiplication and find out the values. Check with me. Then sigma fi and sigma fi xi. Do it. Do the additions and quickly find out. This is 100 and this is check your calculations. Don't do any silly mistakes in addition or multiplication. Now once you got the fix and sigma fix and sigma fi, the mean is very easy, that is sigma fi upon sigma fi, that is we have upon 100, that is 38.85. Wrong, we have forgotten the unit, minutes. Now the answer is correct. Okay, very easy. So now let us go for assume mean method or shift of origin method. Why we are going there? Because we had to do long calculations, big calculations, multiplications, additions. At the end, now here we were lucky that sigma fi was 100, so we can directly found the answer by just shifting the decimal point. But it is not always true. If this figure is something odd like 75, 55, 65, then you have to actually do the division, and then you may miss or you may do some silly mistakes while calculations. So let us simplify our calculations. Let us modify this method, and the second method we call as the shift of origin method or assume mean method. Let us see what that method is. You will see that everything is same, just I am modifying these figures, modifying it, and so the last formula also modified. Okay, let us see one example. While doing examples, you will come to know the details of this method. Let us see second method. So I'll write it here. It is assume mean method. Okay, we are going to learn assume mean method. Let us take one example. So while doing example, we can understand it better. The example is, below is the given frequency distribution of words in the essay written by candidates. Find the mean number of words written. Okay, let us write this. words (600 to 800). This is the same example we have seen for direct method. Same example is there. Have you seen? This is the same example that we have done in the direct method. Calculations were quite tedious. So let us see how we shifted the origin. What we did. First of all, the first step is common, that we have to find out the class mark, that is xi. We have to find out 700, 900, 1100, 1300 and 1500. First is same, there is no change. Now remember one thing, whenever you are asked to find out the mean by assume mean method, it is better if you keep one space here. Okay, I'll tell you why. Right now we have written it here, so it will jumble the things. So instead, if I keep one space here, that is, if I write my fi by keeping some space, let me write the fi again. Now you know that these calculations, this multiplication, that is fi xi, these calculations is the longer one. So what I will do, I will try to reduce these calculations. So in general, if there are 5 classes, I'll take the central one. 6 classes are there, then I'll take either third or fourth. Okay, I will take this value. I'll assume that a is equal to this. I'm assuming a is equal to 1100. That is why this method is called as the assume mean method. Now what to do? Now we have to find out the difference, di. Instead of xi, now I am going to find out the di. The di is nothing but xi minus a. Di is nothing but xi minus a. Okay, so what will be my first number is minus 400, then it is minus 200, it is 0, it is 200 and this is 400. Okay, so these figures are reduced, but you can see that still these figures are bigger. But let us consider, for this example, we'll proceed with this. Now my next step is, what was my second step in the direct method? Was doing xi fi. So here my next step is finding out di fi. Instead of xi, I have modified this figure to di. So now I will find out di fi. Okay, do the calculations very fast. Now next is, as usual, I have to find out the sigma fi, and now instead of sigma fi xi, I will find sigma fi di. This is 800 and this is 100. Check your answers. Whatever calculations you have done, please check it. First we found, in the direct method, we directly found x bar. But here you cannot directly find x bar. Why? Because you have not used xi here. You have used di, modified figures of x. So here, instead of finding out xi first, that is xi is equal to sigma fi xi upon sigma fi. Instead, we will first find out d bar, that is sigma fi di upon sigma fi. Okay, that is 800 upon 100, that is 8. Okay, but is this our answer? No, because we have shifted the figures. What we did, di is equal to here xi minus a. So at the end, what should we do? X bar is equal to, so x is equal to d plus a, isn't it? If I had done this first, I subtracted some value, then now I have to add. Just shift this a to this side of the equation. So x is equal to di plus a. So x bar is equal to d bar plus a. So that is 8 plus a is our 1100. So my final answer is 1108. What was the answer of the same example we did with the direct method? When we did with the direct method, the answer was same. 1108. 1108 words. The answer was exactly same when we did by direct method, but the calculations were wrong. Now here the calculations were not as big as direct method, but still I say these are the bigger one. Okay, now let us see one more example. Before going ahead, what you have to do is, whatever examples we saw with the direct method, solve all those examples with shift of origin or assume mean method and check if your answer is coming same or not. Definitely the answer will be same. Let us see one more example of the assume mean method so that the method will be more clear to us. Okay, let us do one more example. Following is the frequency distribution of time in minutes a worker takes to complete the work. Find mean time taken by worker to complete the work by assume mean method. Now again, this is the same example that we did by the direct method. Let us write it down again and do it. This was the example. These were the number of workers, that is frequency. This was the example we have already solved by direct method. Now let us solve it by the assume mean method. What is the first step? First step is to find out the class mark, that is xi, 22, 27, 32, 37, 42, 47. Now we have to find out the some central value. Now since there are 6 figures are there, I can take either 32 or 37. I am taking the larger number, that is I am taking a is equal to 37, and I have to find out a di xi minus a. Quickly find out 22 minus 37, 27 minus 37, quickly find out these figures. So this is di xi minus a. What is the next step? Find out di fi. Okay. Now, of course, sigma fi and sigma fi di. Find out fast. This is 100, sigma fi is 100, sigma fi dy is 185. Now how will you find the mean now? Since we have shifted it to d, we can find out d bar is equal to sigma fi di upon sigma fi, that is 185 upon 100, that is 1.85. And what is x bar is equal to? X bar is equal to d bar plus a. My a was 37. 38.85. This is exactly same to whatever answer we found out by the direct method, that is minutes. So the method is very simple. It is just a modification of direct method. काय केलं होतं आपण? डायरेक्ट मेथड मध्ये आपण फक्त xi आणि fi घेतले होते आणि xi जर का खूप मोठ्या मोठ्या फिगर्स असतील तर कॅल्क्युलेशन जरा कमी कटकटीचं करण्यापेक्षा आपण एक ॲज्युम मेथड, ॲज्युम नंबर घेतला, त्यातून सगळं मायनस केलं आणि डी काढला. आता डी आणि एफ आयचा गुणाकार केला, डी एफ आय काढलं. सो वी गॉट डी बार फर्स्ट अँड ॲड दॅट ॲज्युम ए, जो आपण ॲझम्पशन ए जे केलं होतं, जे आपण सबट्रॅक्ट केलं होतं ते परत ॲड केलं आणि आपल्याला फायनल आन्सर आलं. Whenever we did this sum by the direct method, the answer was same, 38.85 minutes. And in this method also, answer is same. Now let us see the third method of finding out the mean, that is step deviation method or combination of shift of origin and change of scale method. पहिल्यांदा आपण काय केलं? डायरेक्ट मेथड घेतली, xi fi काढला. ॲज्युम मीन मध्ये काय केलं? xi वरून आपण di काढला, एक ॲज्युम फिगर नंबर त्यातून सबट्रॅक्ट केला, di काढला. आता आपण तरी जर का कॅल्क्युलेशन जर का किचकट होत असतील, इफ द कॅल्क्युलेशन्स आर बिकमिंग टफ और द बिगर, वी विल instead of di we will go one step ahead and find out ui. That means we will divide that d with some number and find out u. So my calculations will be further reduced. Let us see one example for the third method, that is the step deviation method of finding out the mean. The example is the rainfall in mm recorded in 50 cities in a particular region on a particular day is given below. The rainfall in mm is given. This is the rainfall in mm are given. Now the frequency is given. Now I told you our first step was to find out the class mark. So I am keeping some space here. Our assume mean method, we keep some space for finding out d. Now we will keep one more space here to find out one further value and then write the frequency. Frequency is, our first step is to find out the xi, class mark. What is the class mark for this? 37.5 and so on. This is my class mark. Now can we do this by direct method? Definitely we can do it. If you multiply fi, if you find out the fi xi, you can definitely find out x bar is equal to sigma fi xi upon sigma fi. But remember, the figures are odd now. 37.5 into 6, 41.5 into 7. How much time will it take for doing all these calculations, multiplications, then at last division, additions? So instead, first I will do the shift of origin. Now here I will take my a is equal to 49.5. I will take this a is equal to 49.5 nearby central or in this case central figure. Okay, now I will find out di is equal to xi minus a. Quickly do it. This minus 49.5. Quickly do it. Okay, check this. Now there is one way for tally. This addition must come 0. If it is not coming 0, 12 get cancelled, this will get cancelled, this will get cancelled. If it is not 0, then you have done some mistakes in subtraction. Mind well. Check, this is a tally mark. This addition must come 0. Okay. Now by assume mean method, that is the second method, काय करायला हवं होतं आपण? DIFI काढायला पाहिजे होतं. आता माझ्या फिगर्स पॉइंट मध्ये नाही आहेत, फ्रॅक्शन मध्ये नाही आहेत. The figures are simpler. 12 into 6, 8 into 7, oral. Calculations are oral. But still I will say that these calculations are big, if I say. So I want to further reduce it. And now I will find out UI. And my UI will be, now I am changing the scale. UI will be DI upon h. So here I am going to find out ui, change of scale, and ui is equal to di upon h. I am dividing by some number. Which number? What is h? Is the class width. What is the difference between these? The difference is of 4. So my h is 4 here. In this case, class width is 4. So now I will divide each number by 4. So my calculations are further reduced. Right? Direct method मध्ये फक्त xi होता. Assume mean method मध्ये di घेतलं. We subtracted one number and at the end we added that number. And in step deviation method, we took ui. That is, divide this di by 4. Of course, this whatever we are divided, we will adjust it later. At the end, we will adjust definitely. Okay? So now you have to find out ui fi. Okay? Now, whenever you are doing summation of this, ही sum जेव्हा तुम्ही कराल, right now the numbers are not very big, but remember, whenever the big numbers are there, always try to first eliminate the things. Now here, this 18 I need not calculate, right? Now this minus 14, this minus 12 will get cancelled, and from here 2 will get, so 5 will be here. So I am doing some smart calculations, and at last minus 10 and 5 are remaining, so minus 10 plus 5 is minus 5. Okay, we'll see how to calculate this in further examples when the figures are more. But here don't go on first add 18 plus 14, that is minus 32, then minus 10, that is minus 42, then plus 7. No, don't do like this. Do smart calculations. Don't unnecessarily do additions or subtractions. You have to do the subtraction addition by this, like this. Here also, here all positive numbers are there, so you have to do it directly. But here negative numbers are also there, so keep in mind. So here we have found out sigma fi and sigma fi ui. Now how to find out the mean? Let us see the formula for that. The mean formula is equal to a plus h u bar. The formula for this is x, that is mean, is a plus h u bar. What is u bar? Sigma fi ui upon sigma fi. Now in this case, minus 5 upon 50 is minus 1 upon 10, and x bar is equal to, our a was 49.5, h was 4, minus 4 upon 10. 4 upon 10 is 0.4, 49.5 minus 0.4 is 49.1. Okay, you can try this sum by second method or first method, that is direct method or assume mean method. Instead of this step deviation method, your answer will be same. Answer will not change. Answer will be same. Here just we have adjusted few things. So let us revise this step deviation method again. Remember, first direct method, what we did, this interval was given, we find out class mark, that is xi, then frequency was given, we did xi into fi, and we found x bar, sigma xi fi upon sigma fi. In assume mean method, what we did, since this figure were bigger figure, calculations was tricky, so we assume one number, we subtracted that number from all these readings and find out di. So my numbers are simpler now. In the step deviation method, I found these numbers still big. So I want to reduce this number further. So I divide it by the class interval. So I divide it with the class width. That is the difference between the class marks. Here it is 4. So now I found ui is equal to di upon h, that is class width. And at last I found, instead of in first method xifi, second method difi, now I found uifi. Okay? uifi when I found, and my formula was, ultimate formula for the mean, that is x bar is equal to a plus h u bar. Why a plus? First of all, you find u bar. Now since you divided by h, I am multiplying by h. Since you subtracted a, I have added a. So whatever you did for the first step, you have to eliminate that effect. And last calculations are done like this. Your answer will not change, remember. So these are these three methods of finding out the mean. Direct method, assume mean method. Direct method is xifi, assume mean method is difi, and shift of origin method is uifi. Mind well, don't stop with just finding out d bar or u bar. We have to find out x bar, that is the mean we have to find out. So apply the ultimate. Now I don't think you need to remember or by heart this formula. You have to just remember what we did. Since you divided by h here, you have to multiply. So di is equal to, shift this h here, u bar h, d bar is equal to u bar h. But what is d bar? U bar h, and this plus, this is subtracted here, shift there, plus a. So u bar h plus a is equal to x bar. Okay, let us see one more example so that this concept will be more clear. Let us see one more example of step deviation method. Now here a daily sales in rupees is given and number of salesmen are given as a frequency. I told you whenever you have to find out the mean by step deviation method, keep some space between these two, because we have to find xi, then di, then ui. 3 columns we need in between. So my first step is very easy. I have to find out the class mark, that is xi. Quickly find out the xi here. So this is my xi. I have to assume some number. I am assuming a is equal to 1500. That is what I am assuming. You can do one thing. You can even try by assuming 2100 or something. Now we have to find out ui is equal to xi minus a. Quickly subtract 1500 from each of these numbers and find out. By mistake I have written this. Here it should be di. Okay. So this is di xi minus a. Now if I have to go by the assume mean method, these calculations are quite lengthy calculations. So here what I am going to do, shift of origin, that is I am going to find out ui is equal to di upon h. Now what is h here? What is the class width? 300, 600, 900. The difference is of 600. So I'll divide by 600 as my h is equal to 600 and a is equal to 1500. Quickly do these calculations. Divide by 600 everywhere. What I'll get? Right? Now I have to find out fi xi. sorry, I have to find out Fi Ui. Now find out the summation, these two summation, sigma Fi and sigma Fi Ui. This is 66 and this is 100. Now I can find out Ui, U bar, that is sigma Fi Ui upon sigma Fi, that is my 66 upon 100, that is 0.66, and my X bar is equal to A plus HU bar. My HA was 1500, H is 600, find out, do the final calculation, 1896 rupees. This is my final calculation. Okay, so we have seen how to find out the mean by three methods. One is the direct method, one is the assumed mean method, and the third is step deviation method. So now let us see what are the plus and minus points of mean, that is pros and cons or merits and demerits of mean, because we know that we have the three central tendencies, there is a mean, mode and median. Then what are the pros and cons of mean, that we will see now. Okay, now there are some limitations for finding out the central tendency or by the mean. Now what are the limitations, we will see later. First of all, we will see what are the requirements of the ideal measure of central tendency. What are the requirements of ideal measure of central tendency? Okay, the first, it should be simple to understand. The second, easy to calculate. The third is, all observations should be taken. Whatever central tendency we are going to find, what are the ideal things? First, it should be very simple, very easy to calculate. It should be based on all observations. Then, it should be represented by a math formula. That means it should have one and one interpretation. Some mathematical, it should be based on some mathematical formula. Why it should be based on mathematical formula? Because if the different people find out the answer, all should get the same answer. There should not be the deviation in the answers. No, it should be capable of the further mathematical treatment. It should be capable of giving further mathematical treatment. What do you mean by the further mathematical treatment? That means if there are the two set of datas, then we should be capable of, or we should be able to find out the answer by even combining the data. That means for the next step, if I am finding out the answer for the individual data set, then the combination of data sets should also be possible or must also be possible. That means the further treatment should be possible. It should be least affected by the extreme observations. It should be least affected by the extreme observations. Means if the difference between the maximum and minimum is vast, or the second last and last is vast, it should be mean affected by that. That means there should not be a large deviation in your answer. At last, it should be represented by graph. graphical method representation must be possible or must be easy. So these are the ideal measures of the central tendencies. Now let us see about the mean. Now in case of mean, the mean satisfies the first 5 requirements. These first 5 requirements, mean is satisfying. That means mean is very simple to understand and calculate. Calculations are very easy. That means even if the big calculations are there, we can go for the assume mean method or step deviation method, right? Then of course we are taking all the observation, we are not skipping any observation. Then mathematical formula, yes, if the 10 different students find out the answer by all 3 methods of the mean, the answer will be same because it is based on the mathematical formula. The further treatment is possible. Now, if you feel that even after finding out UI, if the calculations are still bigger, you treat it by some other way. Find out ZI by dividing it or by again subtracting by some value, just like we did in case of A. The further treatment is possible. If 2 data sets are given, again the mean of mean can be found out. If I got 10 data sets, I got the 10 x bars, I can again the combination of x bar. म्हणजे त्या 10 x बारचा पुन्हा आपण मीन काढू शकतो. We can again find out the mean of those 10 means. So the further treatment is possible, but what are the demerits? This cannot be represented by graph. Graphical representation is not possible. In case of open frequency, if the class is open, that means if I give something 500, my second class interval is 500 to 700, then 700 to 900, 900 to above, and here first is 500 and below. This is not possible in case of mean, because below 500 you cannot do anything. If they give below 500 and above 900, that means here the lower limit and above 900 mean upper limit are open. This is called as the open class interval. In case of open class interval, the mean fails to determine the central tendency. We cannot find out the mean in that case. It is very sensitive for the extreme observations, and then at last it cannot be determined by inspection. So these are some of the demerits which statisticians or the scientists try to overcome in the next method of central tendency, that is median. So now let us see what is median.